All right, so fasten your seatbelts and get ready for love. Cath?
Good morning. Nice to be with you. We're going to start with a meditation, and I call it the Circle of Love. So if you would just make yourself as comfortable as you can possibly be comfortable where you are, with your feet on the ground and your butts in the seat and your hearts open as they can be. I would close my eyes if I were you, and we'll talk about your circle of love. Pause, if you will, and imagine all the people who love you. The ones here and gone. The ones on your side. Your encouragers. The one who listens, really listens. The one you can tell anything. The no matter what friends. Let those people come to you now and circle you and be with you now and in your days. Bring them with you, your own private circle of love. Thank you. Welcome back. So I'm in Niles, Michigan for my brother's 80th birthday party. It was quite a gathering. There were about 100 people there. Friends came and family came from all over the place. And my brother came from Texas, and I had not seen my brother for over 20 years. My brother had married someone that was really a challenge to like. Let's just put it that way, okay? And so she had since gone on, and this was the first time that my older brother Gary, and I would have been with my brother Mark. So in he pulls with his truck and his little Winnebago trailer, and I'm so excited to see him. And he gets out of his truck, and he's got on a red hat. And on the hat it says, "Joe and the hoe have got to go." Joe and the hoe have got to go. Well, I know what that means. Does that mean anything to you? And wow, my mind just went blank. My mind literally went blank, and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do about this? But before that moment, I had made a decision that love was not just a feeling, that love was in fact a choice. And I'd already worked through some of that, best friends believing in things other than myself. And I've been a student of love now for quite some time, and I just decided I'm just going to go right on through that and right straight to the heart and match up and spend some time with my brother I hadn't seen for 20 years. That's what I've learned about love, and I'm so glad you're here today because I want to talk about it, because I just love talking about love. I have, first of all, I want to say thanks to Aline, and I want to say what she said about you. Oh, when we were in a conversation, she was talking about coming to this group, and here's what she said. She said, I felt honored, liked, and accepted. That's what you do with this room. That's quite a group. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. I want you to know that I'm part of the We're All One crowd, and part of the We Create Our Reality crowd. So that's my background. And I want to say that as far as love is concerned, I think there's a lot of it around. It's not, I mean, I feel some days like there's a deficit, but in fact, when you look, it's everywhere. And what really gets me is, I don't know if it gets you, but when I see on my feed or on Facebook or whatever, when those soldiers come home from wherever they've been and they meet up with their family, that does it for me. By a show of hands, does that touch anybody else in this group? My God. And then whenever I see a newborn baby, and the parents with their newborn baby, and the love is just everywhere around that child, that does it for me. And when I see couples that you can kind of tell they've been together quite a while, and you know they've been through stuff, you just know they have to still be together. I'm just so amazed by the power of love. So today I'm going to take you on a journey that's my journey with love, where it started, and we're going to go and visit romantic love, because gosh, we just seem to be obsessed with that. I became interested in, okay, romantic love, that's like a door opening, but that's just the beginning. Then you got to get real and go into what I call everyday love. And then I want to talk about a job that love has to do today that we're in need of, and we're up to the task, so we'll talk about that as the last thing. And then finally, we'll have a little surprise gift for you, which I'm excited about. I want to share some words of Dean Ornish. I don't know if you're familiar with his work, but he is a cardiologist who has spent a lot of time researching and wondering what love has to do with health. And he says, after 20 years of research and practice as a cardiologist, Dean Ornish wrote in his book, Love and Survival, that no other factor in medicine, not diet, not smoking, not exercise, not stress, not genetics, not drugs, not surgery, nothing affects the quality of our health and the length of life more than feeling loved and cared for. I like it that diet doesn't matter that much, that love matters more than diet. I like that, yes. So I began my experience of love in a family of 5 children. My mom and dad were stable. We lived in the same house forever. But what was odd about it as I looked back on it was never did anybody say, I love you. What the hell? Really? And we didn't hug. We didn't touch. Is anyone in that club? Is there any? Thank you. Okay, so that's the beginning. And when I started to reflect on it even more as I'm in the aging process, I thought back on family gatherings, and my mom's brothers and sisters would come over. We'd have these meals together. No one ever hugged. No one ever said, I love you. Isn't that odd? Well, maybe it's not so odd. We got some people in the room that have that too. But that was my beginning. And so I felt like I was on a journey without a map. It's like, and I can remember when it started, you get a certain age and then you get attracted and you want to, find the love of your life and all of that. So I started into this romantic love journey. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, my goodness. Let's just say that there were a lot of frogs before the prince arrived. How's about that? Yeah, I was 59 before I married. So you can imagine the journey I went on. So I have to tell you this story. So it was the last blind date ever. I it was some of you remember this, before all this switch left and right on the internet, there were advertisements in the classified in the newspaper about, this person wants to meet somebody, right? And I had done a couple of those, and then here comes the day that I'm going to meet this man for lunch near my house, specific time set, good. So I show up and he shows up, and we need to stand in line to make our order, and then we go and sit down, and I swear to you, this is the first thing that he said to me. I'm waiting for my VA disability benefits. And inside I'm going, oh, please, please, please. And inside I was also saying, Cath, just ask him. You want to know what's it about. So I said very nonchalantly, I said, oh, and what would that be about? And he said, it's for my manic depression. Now, I had already dated enough men that I thought was my own private social work case, right? Oh, let me help you, let me fix your life, it'll be so much better. But this was it. Have you ever reached that done phase? Yes, yes, yes. Well, that was my done phase. I had a conversation with the universe and I said, okay, I'm done. If I'm supposed to be with somebody, he's going to have to knock on my door because I am done. And when you're done, you sometimes you want to be done, but you can't really get to done. But there's that point when you're just done. And I was sure when this man asked me if I wanted to go on his appointment to fix this person's toilet. And I went, no, I don't. No, I don't. So interestingly enough, this was August of one year, and in October, I just had a website put up, and I just got an email, and this was about my third email ever this lifetime. And the email was from someone that said, I love your website, keep up the good work. That's all it said. And I thought, well. And I wrote back and I said, well, thank you. Who are you? Where are you? And that was the love of my life contacting me. Wow. And that was the beginning of romantic love. That love when it's a hormone rush, right? By a show of hands, how many of you have had that? Yes, it's just, you can hardly stay away from them. You want to be near them. It's just lovely. And then it starts to change, and the love transforms into everyday love. And I have to tell a story on myself. So this person was in the Midwest, and he actually was my list, except for being a millionaire. That wasn't happening, but he was my list. It was fascinating how many things were true. And you can imagine, we met when I was 50, and you can imagine how set in my ways I was, yes. I had things how I wanted them, just how I wanted them. So Charlie and I get together, and we're living together, and one day he goes out and he buys 4 brown bowls. And he brought them home, and inside I'm saying, these are the ugliest bowls I have ever seen. But I'm in a new relationship, and I thought, I think this is about compromise. So I compromised. I didn't say anything. But I tell you, every time I looked at those brown bowls, there was a reaction. And for 25 years, those damn bowls never broke. Not a one of them did they ever break. And it wasn't until recently that Charlie heard this story, and I'm pleased to say we now have white bowls. But he also kept one for, I don't know what, for memory's sake, I guess. So we do make that transition between romantic love and everyday love. And it's like living with a mirror, isn't it? That you see things in yourself that you think is in them, but it's really in you, and it's such a growing process. So that for me was just a major learning, and a good learning too. And I didn't want to go through life I was ready to, I told the universe, if I'm supposed to be someone, as I said, they have to knock at my door, but I could do life on my own if I had to, but I'm so glad I did not have to, because I have quite a gem. Now, this whole thing about love is, I've learned a lot through that and through studying, and I want to thank a person who's not here today, which is Nancy Fisk, who turned me on to this book. Tell you, it's called The Power of Love. And I've read every page of it, and I've underlined it, and the pages are turned. And some things that I had to learn about love was this, and maybe it's something that you needed to learn too, is you don't have to love everyone. That came to me one day, and I said, oh, okay, I don't have to love everyone, but everyone needs to be loved by someone. Are we in agreement on that? Everyone needs to be loved by someone. And I admit to letting go of people in my life, and I have this image of myself that I'm supposed to be all loving and spiritual, and yet, to tell you the truth, there were two people in my life that when I was around them, I felt worse than when I got with them. And I think some of us have had that experience also. And with this one person, she was so negative. Gosh, so negative. And I thought, here's my thinking. I have a social work background. So I thought, oh, well, if I just hang around with her, then she's going to become more positive. How do you think that worked? It didn't work. Her trip was negative, and mine was to make a decision not to be with her anymore. Another person I had to let go of was so angry. Oh, so angry. Anyone? And I felt so bad about letting go of that person also. But I know that love can activate from a distance. And so I was actually able at one point to get to the point where I could send them love and genuinely mean it. And both of them are still negative, and both of them are still angry. I also learned that you can love a stranger, that you don't have to know somebody in order to love them. And in her book, The Power of Love, Fran tells about a student in her class that went to a hospice to serve at the hospice, and she was at the bedside of an 80-year-old woman who was dying. And the student all of a sudden realized that she was connecting with her heart to her own heart, and that was the lesson for her, that we don't have to know someone in order to love them. That's important. And I also learned that the power of the spoken word needs to be remembered and reminded of. There was an experiment done, I call it the rice experiment. It was also in a classroom of Fran Grace's students, and they decided they wanted to do an experiment about intention. And so when they were doing this experiment, they gathered 2 plastic bottles, and in the bottles were rice that had been cooked. And they kept the bottles in the classroom, and every time the class started, they would say to one bottle, "I hate you, we want to kill you." I mean, messages like that. And to the other bottle of rice, they say, "We love you and we thank you." This experiment went on for 2 weeks. Every time the class started, "We hate you, we love you." The professor took it to her office when the students weren't there. "We hate you, we love you." What do you think happened? After 2 weeks, they opened the "We hate you" bottle, and it literally exploded. And they opened the other bottle, and it was just fine. So what I've learned is that you don't have to love everyone, that you can love a stranger without knowing them, and that we speak our words and they are powerful. And in these times, we need to get out of our heads and into our hearts. So I'm going to ask you to just briefly close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself living in your head. You're thinking about love. You know you're too much in your head and you want to get out of your head. Here's the easiest way to do it. Think of someone you love. Keep that person in mind. Imagine being with them. So that's just a little exercise from getting from your head to your heart. So I mentioned that I think there's a job for love now that's something that we all need to get better at. We need to get better at loving strangers. This comes from my background. I was privileged to, at one point in my life, be the executive director of the San Diego Diplomacy Council. And our mission was to connect humans from all around the world with our like people in San Diego. So, for example, a delegation would come in via the State Department that had a theme of perhaps domestic violence. So our job was to find the experts in San Diego and connect them with the visitors that were coming in from around the world, and they would meld and talk to each other and share best ideas. And what I learned from observing is that not so much here, I don't sense that's it. I know I'm talking to the choir here, but we need to spread this word. We humans seem to like to be around like kind, and that's wonderful and comfortable. But the magic in the future that's going to help a lot is if we get over that a little bit and be willing to extend beyond our comfort zone. I read a book called Humankind, and I'm very curious about what helps bring people together, what helps, if someone shows up with a hat that says Joe and the Ho have got to go, what helps bridge that incredible potential divide? And it's love extended. And part of the solution for this divide that we seem to have, and we've had it before, so we don't need to freak out. This is the only time that humans have ever been divided, but it's kind of serious right now. And the thing that's so interesting is that what's going to bring us together is contact with each other. But then on this other side, you've got this, we like to be around people that are just like us. But in fact, the magic is when we make contact with each other over that divide. So I've come up with a simple solution. I'm going to ask you to stand up, if you will, please, and we're going to practice this simple solution right now. If you're able to stand, I appreciate that. If you're not, you can do it from sitting. It's this simple. It's the nod. Are you with me? Okay, so it's the nod of respect. And it works well with every stranger you're ever going to have to meet. And it's just simply a nod. It's not nodding off, it's nodding a respect. So here's a challenge. It's not a big challenge, but not with the person you're with, but for other people in the room. I'd like you to practice nodding. And when you do it, nod with a sense of respect coming out of your heart. Please do that now. Just wander around and nod. All right, you're good nodders. You've passed the nodding. I think love is, I know that there's action that needs to happen now. I understand that totally, but I also believe in the power of love, and I think it's the magic that connects us humans and builds bridges between us in spite of the great, maybe philosophical divides. Getting connected heart to heart is more important than ever right now, so I'm on a mission to talk about love and give ideas about love and help people connect with love. I remember at Jimmy Carter's memorial, there was a story told about him in his early life. One of his mentors gave him this way of greeting people, and he said he used it for the rest of his life, and it worked well for him. And it was this simple. When he was approaching someone, he said to himself, I have love in my heart, and I have love in my heart for you. I have love in my heart, and I have love in my heart for you. So we will go forth from this day and keep our love active, get out of our heads a little bit, more into our hearts, and we're at this simple, if you want to help the world, simply be a loving person. Thank you for asking me here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Cath. Good to be in your presence again. I've been the lucky recipient of 50 years of love.